It's always good, isn't it, to celebrate significant anniversaries. And, you know, often when you get to an anniversary like this, a 40th birthday, you see it as a landmark. I mean, when anybody gets to 40, you know you've been around for quite a bit. You also know you're not as young as you were, but you know you are firmly established somehow in life, and you're heading into your middle years. Well, the 40th anniversary has come of the Hope Community Project. It's a great moment for us to look back in thanksgiving for all that has been, to thank God for all that is, and to thank God for the fact that this community project is so well established, so rooted in its identity, and also ready for the future. So we rejoice tonight in that reality and all that is. Now, I first got to know the Hope Community and the Sisters of the Infant Jesus 36 years ago, when I was sent to Heathtown to stay with them for 6 weeks in the summer on a pastoral placement while I was training for the priesthood. Those days I was a lot thinner and I had dark curly hair. A lot's changed, as you can see. And then 3 years after that, having been ordained a priest, wasn't it my fortune to come back here to be the assistant priest and the chaplain to the community. And I have to say, being in this church tonight is evoking so many memories, and driving up through Heathtown this evening of all the many blessings that I've known through this project in a special way. So here we are this evening giving thanks, and everybody here brings with them something that's so special and important and treasured by all that we experience from the gift of the Hope Community Project. I would have to say for myself that as I look back on all that I experienced here, something took root in my heart and in my life. If you like, a seed was planted through this experience of being here and part of this very special community. And that experience is summed up in some ways from the first reading of our liturgy tonight, of discovering the presence of God in a place where perhaps we might not know it. And the wonder of that presence found in meeting so many different people who came to gather together with the community at Cloverley or in the old community centre in the days gone past. People with different stories, beautiful human beings with so many gifts, and of course so much to share of the story of life, as well as the burdens and challenges that life would bring to them. And there in the community, with that real sense of support, with prayer, with getting involved in activities, with being able to learn new skills and fresh opportunities. If you like, what was found was something of the gift of hope. And that hope that would shape lives, change lives, strengthen lives, and bring dignity and a real sense of love to so many people. The charism of the Infant Jesus Sisters, under the influence of their wonderful founder, Blessed Nicholas Barry, whose icon is here in the church this evening, was one of recognizing the needs of the other and seeing God in the face of the other and being motivated in a most special way to reach out to the other. And that, of course, is behind the inspiration of the gospel parable this evening that we've just listened to, we hear that time in and time over again in our liturgy and in our prayer. That parable that tells us once again to discover the presence of God in one another. And today, as we think of the Hope Community Project, the project that has flourished and grown over these years. And as I drove through Heathtown this evening to come up to church, and just looking out over this estate and thinking, my goodness, how different does it look now than it did 36 years ago. In our lives, of course, we all experience change. Change is just part of the reality of life. And yet, in the midst of that change, we can hang on to that which is most important. And that importance is the hope that was right at the beginning of this community project. And that hope which comes from a realization of God's loving presence in his beloved Son Jesus, who restores us to life, who gives us that sense of dignity, and who says everybody matters. Every person has a place and is welcome. And that's hope that springs from the gift of faith. So much part of all that has been today is for the refugee and the asylum seeker, for those who might not have English as a first language, for those who have little opportunity to claim for what is their right, for those who need their dignity restored, and for those who just by their humanity actually have so much to share. So we thank God that the seed of hope, a seed has been sown in the hearts of so many people over these 40 years. A seed that grows strong and has flourished and made a difference to so many. Just a few weeks ago, at the start of the beginning of the season for creation, Pope Leo invited every person of goodwill to see themselves at this time as being a seed of hope, a seed that can be planted for the good of the other, a seed that can make difference in our world, a seed that truly does come from God. So we give thanks for that which has been planted in this community and in this place. With all the changes that have taken place, the way in which life has moved on, God has continued to be here. God has loved and has given hope to so many in this beautiful community project. So we thank God that we are called, as Pope Leo invites us, not simply as being seeds of hope, but to be pilgrims of hope, continuing a journey in which we reveal the love and the mercy of our God, and the presence of our God, and the hope of our God. And that beautiful reality that was begun in the charism and the work of the Sisters of the Infant Jesus, and I often think, sisters, of your own cross, as the ends are almost curled up to show the mystery of the incarnation, of God being amongst us. That's so precious and wonderful to know of that presence, but that we too are the seeds of that hope and pilgrims together discovering that reality in our lives. So may God continue on this 40th anniversary to bless and strengthen the work and the mission of the Hope Community Project.